Good morning. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm glad to be the person welcoming you back after what I hope was a rejuvenating few days away. And if it was not the case, then I'm glad we're back with one another in community and getting back into a routine you're familiar with. Please join me this morning in welcoming Dolma with today's announcements.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, November 28th, and it is a white day. Boys and girls basketball tryouts will take place in the Alumni Gym today. 9th/10th graders, grade boys will be from 3:30 to 4:30, and 11th/12th grade boys will be from 4:30 to 6. 9th/10th grade girls will be from 6 to 7, and 11th/12th grade girls will be from 7 to 8:30. Happy belated birthday yesterday to Ania Carter, Mally Hale, and Alexei Stroganov. Happy birthday today to Ashley Clark and Luis Pena Tejada. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Dolma. We have one guest with us in chapel this morning, Brooke White. Brooke's a senior and co-president of the Student Athlete Advisory Council. As our winter sports season begins, she's here to talk with us this morning about mindful eating. Please join me in welcoming Brooke.
Good morning. As Ms. Hansen said, my name is Brooke, and I've been granted the opportunity to speak as co-president of the Student Athletic Advisory Council and beginning my 4th year as an academy track athlete. We hear this from coaches a lot: eat right. To me, that was as simple as what you've learned in elementary school health classes. Avoid junk food when possible and drink lots of water. As a runner, I tried to execute this exact thing. I would opt for fruits, vegetables, and proteins whenever I could. This is a good thing to do. However, I wasn't eating enough. I was happy with how my body looked, and I was eating whenever I felt hungry, but I was unaware of just how much higher of a calorie intake I was lacking from the demand of my sport. For a little while, I saw improvements to my performance, so I made a habit of eating small amounts of nutritious food. Yet, this was not sustainable. A little while into my track seasons, I would start to feel terrible. I was tired all the time, to the point where I thought I might black out every day just from jogging. I felt nauseous, I was cold a lot, and my weight would fluctuate weekly, sometimes by up to 7 pounds at a time. It wasn't until my junior year that I learned about RED-S, relative energy deficiency in sport, which is caused by athletes not fueling themselves enough to keep up with the demands of their daily physical function, let alone the rigorous exercise that will likely be asked of you as an academy athlete. When I learned about this syndrome, what I was experiencing made a lot more sense. Once I was aware of it, I was able to be much more conscientious about my eating. In the words of my sister Hannah, at mealtime I would absolutely tear down. The effects of this condition are not a quick fix, though, and have been severely frustrating. Not only do you feel sick, but your athletic performance is inhibited. You lose muscle strength, endurance, coordination, and increase your risk for injury. I became so discouraged when my times in the 400-meter plateaued last year. 61 seconds, 61 seconds, 61 seconds, every single race. Even when I felt like I was doing everything I could at practice to improve, my body didn't have the tools to reward my work. Yet there was one huge warning sign. Let me preface by saying that all athletes, regardless of age or gender, can be afflicted by RED-S. However, young female athletes are the most afflicted group. I learned about female athlete triad not from a medical professional, but by one of my teammates, Ava Purdy, when she was researching for her AOI. Fortunately, you may have an opportunity to see her capstone this spring, which will go into much more depth. For now, a simple definition, according to the National Institute of Health: the female athlete triad is an interrelationship of menstrual dysfunction, low energy availability, with or without an eating disorder, and decreased bone mineral density. The big warning sign for female athletes is loss of their period. This is another maxim that I've heard growing up in sports. If you lose your period, it's because you're working hard. It's normal for that to happen. The truth is, it's not normal. It's a sign of this big downward spiral in which girls don't have enough calories to have a regular menstrual cycle. When you don't have the energy to perform this basic bodily function, it depletes your energy, making it challenging to stay on top of your game, and then begins to eat away at your bones. The female athlete triad is a major player in Red S. In my experience, my stagnant racing performances made me feel like I wasn't good enough to continue competing, or maybe that I wasn't trying hard enough, and it took months before I felt like I was back to myself. I got shin splints and a stress fracture in my foot, all because I should have been eating more. Even now, I still don't feel 100% back to normal, but I am working on being more conscientious of my meal planning. I share this with you because I want to prevent anyone else from going through this experience, and it's something I hope that all athletes here at the Academy are aware of before it becomes a major issue. Red S is harmful to your physical and mental health. If you're experiencing fatigue, weight loss, bone-related issues such as shin splints, and especially irregular menstrual cycle, please talk to your parent, coach, or Chris Despens immediately. My biggest frustration with Red S is that it's not an issue with competing in track or any other sport, and especially not an issue with female bodies. Red S is often a misunderstanding in women's health because women, historically, have not been scientifically studied to the extent that men have, particularly in the context of athletics. It is why I've been inspired to enter a field in maternal health, particularly researching the biochemical differences in women's cellular metabolism. The biological truth is that women have different physical needs. I want the Academy to be a place where women's health isn't something that girls feel ashamed of or keep quiet about because it only hurts us as athletes and as people. Best of luck, everyone, in their upcoming winter sport. Train hard and be mindful of what it really means to eat right. Eat a lot of good food. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. Whether you are an athlete or not, nourishing yourself, giving your body what it needs for fuel is certainly critical. We're drawing nearer to the end of November, a month when we've taken a longer look at gratitude. There is a continuously growing body of research that tells us gratitude is good for us physically, emotionally, and mentally. This research tells us that when we practice gratitude, we sleep better. We're more creative. We lower our blood pressure and feelings of hostility and aggression. Gratitude as a practice helps us truly appreciate the value of something. Beyond its newness, which is sure to wear off, gratitude asks us to notice positives and celebrate goodness. Brené Brown, a research professor and author, defines gratitude as an emotion that reflects our deep appreciation for what we value, what brings meaning to our lives, and what makes us feel connected to ourselves and others. Brown adds, and this for me is the important part, quote, "Gratitude is an emotion, but if we want to experience its full power, we must also make it a practice. A practice is a way of doing, trying, failing, and trying again." Brené Brown's definition, the practice of gratitude, is one we might all be able to add to our day. Gratitude isn't a cure for all that ails us, for every sad or difficult thing we've gone through or will go through. It's a way of noticing and a way of being. Though our theme of gratitude is drawing to a close, I want to invite you to remain in the practice of gratitude, to continue to do the work of noticing. I'd like to close today with a poem. It's one that I come back to every so often, particularly it seems at this time of year, which is notorious for an uptick in travel. But one of the things that I love about this poem, and it's particularly appropriate for the practice of gratitude in the way of noticing, is that it asks us to notice. The poem is called Gate A4, and it was written in 2008 by Naomi Shihab Nye. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal, after learning my flight had been delayed 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled to the floor, wailing. "Help," said the flight agent. "Talk to her. What is her problem?" We told her the flight was going to be late, and she did this. I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke haltingly. Shudawa, Shubidak Habibi, Stenishwe, Min Fadlik, Shubit Sawe. The minute she heard any words she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely. She needed to be in El Paso for major medical treatment the next day. I said, "No, we're fine. You'll get there. Just later. Who's picking you up? Let's call him." We called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother till we got on the plane and ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called her other sons just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad, and he and she spoke for a while in Arabic and found out they, of course, had 10 shared friends. Then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets I know and just let them chat with her? This took up 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade mamoul cookies, little powdered sugar crumbly mounds stuffed with dates and nuts, from her bag, and was offering them to all the women at the gate. To my amazement, not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrament. The traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo, we were all covered in the same powdered sugar and smiling. There is no better cookie. And then the airline broke out free apple juice from huge coolers, and 2 little girls from our flight ran around serving it, and they too were covered in powdered sugar. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green furry leaves, such an old country tradition. Always carry a plant, always stay rooted to somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary ones, and I thought, this is the world I want to live in. The shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying of confusion stopped, seemed apprehensive about any other person. They took the cookies. I wanted to hug all those women too. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is lost. And so, that's what I offer you as you go into your day, that this kindness, this gratitude can happen anywhere. Hope you have a really lovely day and welcome back. Faculty.